to say we have a trainee.
Hello, welcome. As Mike said, we have a trainee today. Mike is going to Japan for 4,000 weeks in May, and I'm concerned about that. So I am getting him to teach several people how to lead these lives because I am not capable enough, clearly, to do this on my own. So Cammie, my friend, is here learning today. Hello, I'm glad you're all here. I'm going to have Cammie, Betsy, and Ken all ready to go. How's that?
Cammie will be just fine.
What?
Cammie will be just fine.
Cammie will be just fine. I know she will, but I don't want her to have to commit to being here till 6.
A little commitment, sure.
Yeah, he's going to Japan. Mike and my mom are going to Japan. I wanted to go, but I didn't want to leave Lila that long, and I couldn't take her out of school. So I think next year I'm going to take, or the year after, I'm going to take Colin for his graduation gift. Hello, I'm glad you're all here. Okay, so I am recovering from a week with friends being here. Not recovering. They left on Saturday, and I sat in a chair and stitched for, I think, 24 hours at least, maybe longer than that. And then I went to a baseball game, and then I stitched some more. I just was bummed that they left, but, reality kicks in at some point. So, will they be able to see Punch the Monkey? Let's Punch the Monkey. I don't know what you're talking about. Is that a Japan thing? I don't know. Anyway, so I'm back in creating again. I'm live today. I'm live Wednesday for a short live. And then I am going on a trip with my son and his girlfriend and my mom. So I have some pre-recorded videos for while I'm gone. Okay. So yeah, you have some pre-recorded videos to look forward to soon. But
there's a monkey named Punch.
Oh, there's a monkey named Punch in Japan?
Yeah.
Who knew? But today is a live that I have been looking forward to for a very long time. Can you handle the dog? I would say 2 months ago, I had lunch in Columbus with my friend Elizabeth, who owns Poshta Design. Poshta Design does dyes and felt and thread for stitching projects. They can be stitched with felt, or they can be stitched on cardstock. You can take your pick. It's completely up to you. But today I am doing a combination of both. So this is a stitching project, card maker friendly or paper crafter friendly live. Okay. This is what I have found to be my therapy over the years. I discovered Poshta a few years ago, and hook, line, and sinker, it's my favorite thing to do whenever I need a little crafty escape. It's something that you can take with you on the go. So I have been known to stitch on a boat. I've been known to stitch at a baseball game, right, Cammie? Mm-hmm. She's seen me do both. I stitch on airplanes. I stitch at concerts. I stitch wherever I can. So it's something that you can kind of pack and take to go, and it's very therapeutic.
Sounding like a Dr. Seuss thing.
It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book. I can stitch on the go. I can stitch in a plane. But it's Mike calls it my fidget. It's what keeps me from being anxious. Now, here's the thing. I know not everybody out there thinks that stitching is for you, and it may well not be. But I really encourage you to watch because you might be surprised. These products are designed to work really well on cards also, and I will talk about that as I go. Oh, somebody else said, Harriet said, sounds like a Dr. Seuss book too. And so did Lisa. There you go. So it's something to watch and maybe consider as something else that you can do. It's nice because these are things that you can make and put them on a card, but then it's like a special keepsake for them to keep and put on display. I know a lot of my friends will hang them like on a cabinet knob or handle in their kitchen or in their craft room or on their rearview mirror in their car. So it's just a little gift that you can give to somebody that's crafty and fun to make. Mike likes to travel-ish. He's wanted to go to Japan for a long time, so my mom's taking him. I was originally booked to go too, but I had to cancel. He's excited about going to Japan. What is it about Japan, Mike, that's making you excited?
So unique.
Unique.
Capsule hotel.
He wants to go to a capsule hotel.
Vending machines.
Vending machines.
And the food.
And the food. And then again, he gets sick on bullet trains. He gets sick on food when we travel, so
yeah,
we'll see how this goes.
Interesting.
We'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is, I've got a lot to show you. Are we surprised? I spent a lot of time preparing for this. Yes, the dies I'm showing you today will cut through felt and they will cut through paper. So everything I show you today could be done with paper also. If you're cutting from paper, completely from paper, I just recommend a heavyweight cardstock. If you're concerned your cardstock isn't heavyweight enough, you can double cut and glue them together to work as like a doubled up layer to make it stronger. But what I do is a combination of cardstock and felt. But I will talk about how you can make it all felt or how you can make it all cardstock, okay? So this is what I have after a lot of stitching decided is what I'm most comfortable with, what I find is easiest. I stitch and walk at the same time. So what I think is the easiest approach to using felt on your cards with these stitch projects. Yeah, Lisa said she wishes she had the patience to do the stitching on felt. I get it. I totally get it. It's not for everybody. You know, some people have the patience to put together tiny little die cuts. Some people don't. Some people have the patience to plant their own flowers. Some people don't. Everybody has a different desire. I have found that these projects don't take that long to stitch. So the amount of patience required isn't as much. Mike, people are asking why you're not mic'd, Mike. Because he's eating pretzels. That's why. My sweater is really old. I got this sweater. It was hand stamped with paint by a woman in a tiny little town in France when I went there with Colin. And I can't bear to get rid of it. So I still have it. It's huge, but whatever. Okay, so let's start. I will tell you first of all that there are two exciting things today. First, Poshta Design, who is my favorite source for stitching dies and felt, is offering a new die set. They're releasing it's new today. It's one that I asked for. And also they're having a 15% off stitching dies, okay? Which is very, very unique for them to offer. So can you put up the 15% off discount code, Cami? There it is. So Poshta Design is offering 15% off their dies using my code. And that information is in the YouTube description below. Let me make sure. Yes, it's in the YouTube description below. The only thing that it excludes is the new die I am showing today and their kits. But all the other dies, the stitching dies that they have, are 15% off, and that's a sale they don't do very often, okay? I will tell you that you can come back here. Do you know how to, Cami?
Yep.
Cami knows how to. Look at that. Good job, Cami. So again, it's 15% off everything except the die I'm about to show you. When I was at lunch with Lizzie a couple months ago, I said, I'd really love a die that's a heart with a rainbow through it. Because if you watched my live on Black Friday, you know I showed how to do these rainbows, which I'll talk about today. But I really, really, really wanted to have a rainbow inside of a heart. And so I asked Lizzie if she could design one, and this is what she came up with. I think the name is called Heart love, or rainbow heart. Is it rainbow heart?
There are some.
Rainbow love. Rainbow love dies.
You want me to show that?
Yeah, you can show it, Mike.
Okay.
Show the die set.
Rainbow Love?
Yeah. So this is the Rainbow Love die set. These examples that you're seeing here are made by Elizabeth over at Poshta Design. She's the owner. She and her husband and her, I think she's 6-year-old daughter, Tilly, they run this business from their home. They built a little barn, or they have a barn that they redid, and that's where they ship from. So it is truly a family business. And this is what she designed. I asked her for a heart with rainbows in it. You could make that heart without the rainbows also. So it is something that's very versatile. Isn't that cute? So Lizzie made those examples. In those examples, she stuffed them with fluff. Mike, she sent some other examples with fluff in them. Can you show those? Can you tell? There you go. Lizzie made those too. Elizabeth Jones from Poshta Design, she made those too. Look at in one, she did like a light pool background with the classic rainbow. The other's white with a pastel rainbow, and she put a little string at the top. But those are nice and fluffy. She also put little sequins on it. Is there another one? Here's a closer look at what those look like. You can keep going to the next one. Is there another one?
That's it.
Is that it? Okay. So those are from Elizabeth at Poshta Design. Now what I have, so these are the dies. The dies that you get in that set, let me show you that. This is the Rainbow Love die set. So this is Rainbow Love die set. You get a heart with the stitching around it that's solid. You could use this with other things on it. So you don't have to use the rainbow with it, and I love that both are included. The other die is the same shape heart with the stitching on the outside, but it has the bows for the rainbow included. Then there are the individual bows, so you can cut the different colors. So if you're not into the rainbow, yes, Color Flutter Creations, you're exactly right. If you're not into the rainbows on it, you could just do a solid heart and put little flowers on it or something. You know, you could put little flowers or other little hearts on it. But I was really excited by this. The other reason I was excited by this is they are sized nicely to go on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch note card. And I'll talk about how you can include these on a note card so that the recipient can take it off and hang it up. Okay, so I'll talk about that soon too. So that is the Heart Love die. This is brand new. It's something that I asked Elizabeth to design. I really like her stitching dies for felt because the dies or the holes are spaced just right and they're not too close to the edge. So you don't have to worry about tearing your felt as you do your stitching. Okay, so you can also do this. These dies work on felt, but they also work on cardstock. So if you prefer to just stitch on cardstock, by all means, you can do that. All right, so those are the Rainbow Love dies, brand new. Now, I wanted to show you that a while ago, let me show you. A while ago, Poshta came out with the rainbow, I think it was just the rainbow dies. Let me see if I can find it. The Joyful Rainbow dies. She came out with the Joyful Rainbow dies that cut all the pieces you need to make this rainbow. Now I will say it also cuts little raindrops, but I don't do the raindrops. I skip the raindrops. It doesn't come with this heart. It comes with the smaller heart, but I added this bigger heart. So basically you get all the dies that you see to cut this, okay? Yeah, I agree, Nikki, that too. There's a lot of things that rainbows stand for, and I think that's awesome. So on Black Friday, I did a live that showed how to stitch these rainbows. I will show these again, but as you can see, I have stitched a lot. In fact, yeah, Gloria, you think I'm crazy? I've already sent out a ton of them. I've probably sent 30 of them out. This is one of my forms of therapy. I like to stitch on paper, but I also like to stitch this felt paper combo. And the original, this one doesn't have any paper in it, but I prefer to put the paper in it, which I'll show you. And I tried a bunch of different color combos, all kinds of things. And I used some color combos that were original to what Elizabeth came out with for my Black Friday Live. But I made a bunch of these, all right? Yeah, I've been busy, Rachel, you're right. It's called avoidance. It's called avoiding anything else that's important, I stitch. So I have a bunch of these. I will talk about other dies that I've used too for stitching. But I thought I would first, so this is the original Joyful Rainbow. I will talk about it a little bit, but today I'm talking a lot about the Hello or the Heart Love die set. Okay. On Black Friday, she had a deal where it was the rainbow die set, the die that made this rainbow plus all the felt plus all the thread. But now she is which is wise. The die is sold separate, and then the thread and the felt are sold as a bundle. So you could get multiple rainbow bundles in one die set. Yes, all the ones I just showed you were felt. I'm going to go through that. I promise. Okay, but let's see. What's the best way? I'm going to show you how to make one, but I just wanted to show you some of the color combinations that are available. So there are some, this is kind of hard to describe. Mike, do you have the image that has a bunch of colorful dots on it?
Yeah.
Can you put that one up? No, maybe that's not a good idea. Not a good idea, never mind. So what Poshta has is, if you look at the YouTube description below, there is a supply list. Towards the top of the supply list, it says all Poshta rainbow felt bundles. That means you get all the felt, and I believe they put all the thread in it too. Let me see, which I'll talk about. Yes. So in those Poshta rainbow felt bundles, you get all the colors of felt you need and the threads that you need for it, the string. I will talk all about how to make these in a moment, but there are bundles available. The original bundles that came out on Black Friday are the Bold and Bright, which are the ones you see here, the Sweet Pastels, which are the ones you see here, and the Primary Classic, which are the colors you see here, but with white. I use for this example, I use like a gray flecked, but it would be white. So these were the 3 bundles that came out on Black Friday. And you can buy these bundles now. So again, the bundle that you would get is all the felt and all the thread. The dies you can get separate. So you can use this felt to make this, or use this felt to make this. Either rainbow. Because look, there's white for this heart, white for the clouds. So it's up to you. Those were the original 3. These are still available and now available without the dies. Okay, so you can buy as many bundles as you want, and they're a bit discounted. Then these are the new ones I asked her to put together. These were ones, after doing a lot of rainbows, I decided I really liked. First of all, there's Vivid. So she put this together, and I have these linked below. So these all include different colors of Poshta felt, and then the thread that goes with it, and white. And these were just rainbow colors I liked. And again, you can use the bundle to create this or this, either shape. So Vivid is a new bundle, and it's at a little bit of a discounted price. Then there's Rosy. Whenever I made rainbows in this kind of palette, where it's lots of pinks to yellows, people loved it. Let me see if I can find a completed rainbow with that too. Here we go. So you can see the different looks that you can get. It was just something different. And so this bundle is called Rosy. All right. Then this one is Muted, and you can see it in a rainbow or the heart. And then Neutral. And what I want to do with Neutral is put a little red heart on it. So you can get red felt and thread and put that on there. But I love this like kind of skin tone rainbow. I just think it's really inclusive and so much fun. And I've made some like that with the big rainbow here. Let's see, hold on. I haven't added the red heart to it yet, but I'll put a little red heart right here. That red heart is from a different Poshta die set. Okay, so I like the skin tone too. So these 4 are new. These 3 are older, but all 7 of these bundles are available. And in the bundle, you get a roll of each color felt, the white, and all of the matching threads. Okay, yeah, you could do pinks. You could do all pinks and do breast cancer support. There's lots of things that you can do. Yeah, the Rosy has been one of my favorites. These 3 are probably the ones I've made the most. I like the Rosy. This seems to be just like a happy kind of rainbow. But whenever I show these to people, a lot of them like the muted. Yeah, the neutral's great. I think the neutral's great too. And I think it looks really cool with a pop of red. You could do a bigger red heart. Like pretend this is a red heart right there. This is from Poshta also. I think that would look cool. Just kind of glued. You stitch this heart, you stitch this heart, and you glue them together. I think that would be really cool. All of the felts that you see here are the very high quality felt. I do not recommend going to one of your chain craft stores and buying their inexpensive felt. Not all felt is created equal, and not all felt will die cut nicely. So I recommend going to a place that has great quality felt. The first that I recommend would be Poshta, which is the one that I use today. Benzie Design is also good. There are some on Etsy that are good. And Spellbinders has a few like combo packs where there's a lot of different sheets of felt in it, but you can't buy them individually. But I'm telling you, any kind of cheap felt will not die cut or stitch very well. Yes, you can put 2 hearts together. Yeah, you can do all kinds of things. You can put 2 together and try to do a full rainbow. There's a lot that you can do with this. I'm not sure, Sandy, how many a bundle will make. Elizabeth is here from Poshta. Hopefully she'll be able to answer that. I'm not sure. I will say it's easier to get a lot out of this one because see how the bows are this little tiny kind of arch, whereas this one, it's a big arch for like the pink and the orange. So it really, Paper Tray Ink does have good felt and so does Tailored Expressions. You're right. Thank you for mentioning that. Those are also good. But today I'm using Poshta because she put these bundles together and these bundles are a little bit of a discounted price and the string, the floss comes with it. Yes, Tailored Expression has it too. So again, let me go through this again. Poshta, Benzie Design, Spellbinders, but those are in variety packs, Tailored Expressions, and Paper Tray. Yes, the 15% off applies to all of the dies except this new Heart Love one. Yep. Okay. All right. So I also wanted to say, so all of these bundles, felt bundles, are linked at the top of my YouTube description. However, there is also in my YouTube description somewhere where it says Poshta Design Additional Rainbow Suggestions. These are some additional ones that she shared. That includes these 2, boho neutrals. So there's no bundle for this or the muted chic. These 2 don't have bundles available, but just to show you that Poshta has a lot of great examples over on their website. So if you're looking for more color combinations, they have it. Lisa, you're right. A cheap acrylic felt will not cut with thin dies. Yes, the 15% is dies only. If you're interested in the sale information, it is linked in the YouTube description below. All right, so let me show you. On all of mine today so far, I have not added anything to the rainbow. I'll put a loop on the top, but you could add things to it. For example, you could take like a flower and add it right to the base. Let me take this off. To the base of the rainbow. So you could put some flowers on here. You could also, here's another heart and flower. This is one I had like on my own. look how cute that would be to just glue that right onto there. So you have this kind of layered heart. Isn't that fun? So there are things you can add to it. I'm not focusing on what to add to it today. I am focusing more on how to do the stitching. I will say if you're going to glue other like little felt flowers or hearts that you've stitched, if you're going to glue those on, what I've been using, and I think I have it linked below, is this tacky glue. You can also use a hot glue gun, okay? Just put a little bit on the back and that will dry. It takes a while to dry, but it'll glue them together. So what I do with these is I put a little string at the top. You can do like a baker's twine or like a silver thread. And I hang them on the top of a card, and the recipient can take these and hang them wherever they want. The recipient can hang them on a little knob in their kitchen or on their rearview mirror or in their craft room. It's just a nice little keepsake that they can add anywhere. I have a couple that I've added in like my bathroom hanging on the light that people have made for me. There's lots of them. In the past, I've shown some hearts that I've stitched with little flowers added to them. Poshta has a lot of different things, but today I'm focusing mostly on the rainbows. Can you scroll it? I will say they have lots of fun things like these. This is the tulips, which I've been making quite a few of, and I'm hoping if I have time today, I can show you how to do some of these tulips because they're another thing that I'm clearly addicted to. And they would
made me smile that you asked Cammie to scroll. Could you scroll?
These you could even use as bookmarks. And then once you kind of get into it, if you really like it, this is the Bouquet, the Floral Bouquet. Fresh Flowers die set. Sorry, this is the Fresh Flowers. This one I feel is a little more advanced because it has some fun stitches and some little beads added to it. But I'm hoping to go through this one in a future live. But you can see how this heart here is pretty simple and it kind of steps up. There's lots of different options. They have everything from flowers to basketballs to zombies to chickadees. They have everything that you could possibly imagine. So again, for rainbows, let's start with rainbows. For the rainbows, there are lots of bundles of felt and thread available below. I will talk about those as we go. Yeah, you could stitch these onto things. You could definitely stitch these, like you can stitch the felt onto a pillow, or somebody said a denim jacket. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do. I'm just kind of focusing on creating little keepsakes that you can add to cards as gifts. All right. Are there any references for stitches? I'm going to show you here, but I will tell you. I'm going to go through this one. This is the Rainbow Love set, which is new. I'm going to go through the stitches now, but I will tell you that Poshta Design, they have a blog and they also go live quite often. Elizabeth and her husband go live quite often and show lots of ways to do these things, okay? The stitching on this is super easy. Super easy, I promise. It's very easy. And by the way, all of these rainbow hearts, I make them double-sided. You don't have to. You don't have to. Yes, these would be great as ornaments. In fact, they have dies that are meant to make ornaments, like holiday ones. But I'm focusing on the hearts, which could be used all year round. Yes, felt and thread is not included in the discount. The discount is on the dies only. The bundles of felt and thread are already discounted. So what I started with, just bear with me and I promise I'll answer questions as I go. I start with a piece of cardstock. So I cut the die that has the bows in it, and I cut that from heavyweight white cardstock. Really, any cardstock will work. It'll be hidden, so it really doesn't matter. And when you have these little dots, what I do is I drag my needle and it'll just pop them out quickly. There are other ways to do this, but I find this the fastest way to pop out all of those little holes. So there we go. All of those little holes are popped out. Yeah, it would be cute to hang in a car. They have other shaped hearts that are a little more kind of squatty hearts. I didn't bring any in here, but I did link in the YouTube description below under supplies, a link to all of their different heart dies. So there's lots of different options. This is just a new one that I had asked her for, and I'm really excited about because I love the rainbow. I feel like we could use that kind of brightness and hope in our life, and that's what I'm doing today. Okay, so this is just cut from cardstock. And I like to put this in the middle of my felt piece so that it's kind of strong. So these hearts will be nice and strong. Now, if you don't want them that way, you could make them like, this is kind of flimsy. This one is all felt. There's no cardstock in it. But I kind of like that cardstock in there, and to be honest with you, it makes it a lot easier, so much easier to have cardstock in the inside. Okay, this is something I showed on my Black Friday and I've been doing for a long time, but I think it makes a big difference. So this is cardstock. I also cut it twice from white felt. I believe Poshta calls theirs Tundra. Tundra is their white, and that's what I'm using. So these two are cut from felt, and this one is cut from cardstock. And I'm going to put the cardstock between the felt. Okay? So there's cardstock in there. Yes, Vicki, you're right. It gives it structure. Now, there are a couple ways you can hold this all together while you stitch. Let me show you some of the options. First thing you can do is put some like tape runner on the front of your cardstock and lay your felt onto it lined up. And that will just hold it there long enough while you stitch. So you could do that. That's one thing you can do. Just a little tape runner. I'm using Altenew. I have that linked below. And that will keep it from like slipping as you stitch, which really makes it so much easier. So now they're lined up and they're kind of held together. So that's one way. Another thing that you can do is use these clips. I have them linked below in my YouTube description. I have them linked as fabric clips. This is a little pack that you can get of some different sizes. But what these can do is if you don't want to use the tape or you want to do both, you can also just use clips around the edge to kind of clip it to get you started as you stitch. There's big clips and there's small clips. And these also help. So it's completely up to you. So these are fabric clips. I have them linked below in my YouTube description. There's a set of these. Now, I will tell you, I like to stitch around the edge in white floss before I put my rainbows down, before I put all these stripes down. If you wanted to, you could first put the stripes down and then stitch the white over it. Do you have Poshta's examples of some of those puffy hearts? Can you put one of those up again? I don't care which one.
Somebody asked what size needle you use.
I will show you the size needles I use in a moment. But first, okay, see on her examples, can you tell? See how she stitched the rainbows, the colorful stripes down first, and then did the white around the outside edge. I did the white first, so it's completely up to you which way you do it. It really doesn't matter one bit. Okay, so I'm going to talk about you can come back here, thank you. I'm going to talk about the needle and thread here now. I have to find, what? Oh, there we go. Okay, so let's see, I need to get some floss here. Hold please. The floss I'm using is like this. It is 6-ply DMC floss. If you watched my video where I stitched on cardstock with the Altenew dies, this is the same floss I use. In that video, I use this with all 6-ply because this separates into 6 threads. When I stitch on felt, I only use 3 threads. So The floss that I use is linked below. Poshta does have the DMC floss or thread to match all of their felt. And remember, if you buy one of the bundles that's at the top of my YouTube description, the felt comes with the matching thread, so you don't have to worry about it. But if you're like me and you've been collecting this DMC floss for years, since I was little, for cross stitching, that's what you use for this. So a lot of my floss, I've switched from this format, which it comes in, onto these little bobbins. So I am taking a floss, a DMC floss. Again, all that is linked below in the YouTube description. And the way that I get those 3 plies out is very simple. So this is 6 plies all together. I just get a hold of one of them. So there's one right there. And I pull it out while my finger holds the rest. So there's one right there. Then I go get a second and pull that out while my finger holds the rest. See how it gets all bundled up there? And then I get a third. And then all of this I can save for another project. I would wrap it around this thing and save it for another project. So now I have these 3 ply, and I'll put them back together. I highly recommend pulling out individual ply, 3 individual ply, and then put them back together, because they won't be twisty and it'll give you a prettier stitch than just trying to pull out 3 ply all together. Yes, if you cross stitch, you're set. All you need is the felt and the dies. So now I am putting my 3 ply of floss into my needle. Now there are a couple needles you can use here. Poshta sells a size 5 needle, and I have that linked in my YouTube description below. I believe this might be a size 5. Size 5 is small enough that you can easily stitch through things. These felt bundles will be restocked. They might sell out today, I don't know, but it's not something that's like a limited time only. Another size needle that I like, and it's a little bit bigger, I don't have any here. Where's that rainbow I had you do?
I'm putting the last piece.
Oh, can I just see it real quick?
Yeah.
I want to see what the needle is. Another type of needle, no, that's not it. Okay, you're good. The needle sizes that I like to use for stitching on these type of products are either the size 5, which has a tinier hole but works really well, and Poshta sells those. Size 5, I have those linked in my YouTube description below. I also like size 20, which is like a chenille needle. I have that linked below. That has a slightly bigger hole to it. Okay, so either 5 or 20. 5 is probably your better bet because it's a little bit thinner and it'll stitch better. I believe this is a 5. All right, you just don't want too wide of a needle that you can't go through the holes, but these holes are pretty big. So if you have needles on hand, try what you have. But Poshta has a size 5. I have that linked below. And that is probably a good choice because that's what the experts, recommend using. But I also have been known to use the chenille, is that how you say it? Size 20. I have those options linked below. Yeah, Lori, you're right. Okay, so now I have these bows to stretch across. So I can see, if you want to, you can poke through the felt too. I don't usually do that, honestly. But if you're having a hard time seeing where you need to stitch, you can poke through before you put them together. Another thing you can do to get the little dots out of the felt is take a piece of masking tape and press it down and pull it off, and it'll take some of those little dots out. But what I'm doing is you can see the holes in that first bow where the pink will go. So I think I can see it enough. I don't need to worry about punching all those out. So I'll take my first bow, which is this pink color. I don't remember what this color is called. This is the vivid bundle. Okay, these are all Poshta. This is the Vivid bundle. You can buy the rolls separately, but I love the bundle because it all comes together. So I have white felt heart on both sides, and the cardstock is there in the middle. Now on one side, over the first arch of holes, I'm putting the pink, and on the other side. And now I can, if I want to, I can move my little clips to hold those in place. So I'll move my little clips down. All right, so you see how I've got that pink bow on both sides. You don't have to do both sides. You can do one side, and I'll show how to do that later, but I really like the look of both sides. I think it's really cool. So now I need to start stitching. I don't know, I will tell you now. I don't stitch how the correct way would be to stitch. I just kind of do my own thing. And after making quite a few of these, this is what I do. I start in the middle. I'm going to start like right here, and you can start at the end if you want to, but I'm going to start like right here. And I go in one side, out the other. Okay? And I leave a pretty long little tail here. Okay? Again, this is 3 ply of floss. Then I flip it over and I go in the next hole. So now I've gone down one hole, up the next hole. Then I'll go down the next hole, flip it over, and down the next hole. Flip it over, down the next hole. So I'm skipping stitches. Down the next hole, flip it over, down the next, flip it over. So if you look here, I'm skipping stitches. See, that one skipped and that one skipped. This is called a running stitch, okay? I'm just gonna keep doing that. So this is where my floss is coming out on this side. I'll go down the next hole, pull up, down the next hole, and pull up, down the next hole, pull up, down the next hole, pull up, and now I'm at the end. Down that next hole and pull up. Now I'm at the end. I can't stitch anymore. There's no holes left. It's okay. Watch. So see how I've alternated? Every hole is skipped. And I'm coming out this top end hole. What I'll do is go back. Go back down the last hole. Flip it over and pull. Go back down the last hole. Flip it over and pull down the last hole. So I'm filling in the gaps. So let me keep doing that. So I went one way where I skipped every other thread or every other stitch, and now I'm going back and filling in. So see how these are filled in? So now I can go up, hold on. I can go up right here. See how there's a gap right there? So I'm gonna go up before the gap and down. It's hard to do up here, see? So that's a running stitch. You basically do every other stitch and then you reverse it and do every other stitch. And I'll show you why I start at the middle in a moment. But I'm just gonna skip that part where I started, or just ignore that part where I started in the middle and just keep going with that every other stitch. Okay, so I'm just going every other stitch. So I go up and then I go down. I flip it and I go down. Flip it, go down. So it's called a running stitch. You're skipping every other stitch. And I think it's helpful to flip it so you can see and make sure you're going through a hole and not like off kilter. Okay, so I'm just going every other. So see how in that area, every other stitch. Yeah, this is my creative therapy. It may seem complicated, but once you've done it a few times, it really is not hard to do. Question. What was the question, Mike? Do you know what the question was?
Hold on.
Okay, so I'm just going
To go to the favorites.
every other stitch.
What was the name of the flower die you showed? I think that's the one.
Oh, this
Flower
one is...
white and with yellow stitching.
Oh, I don't
Green
know
leaf.
what that was. I don't know what that flower was. It was from one of my other die sets. I just take I linked in my YouTube description a bunch of the floral die sets that I use from Poshta and like kind of mix and match together. So it's probably from one of those. Okay, so you can see I did every other stitch to the end. I've reached the end, and so I go backwards and I fill in those stitches. And it works out perfect that when I do every other stitch now, it fills in what was missing. It fills in the gaps. And the nice thing about this type of running stitch is it looks pretty on both sides. There's something called a back stitch, which doesn't look the same on the front and the back, but this running stitch does. The size needles that you can use are either 5 or 20. I have my needle options linked below. If you're ordering from Poshta, I would just get her size 5 needles. They're excellent. I think that's what I have right here. All right, so I came back and forth until I meet here in the middle. There's still one left, so I'm going to go down that hole. So what happens in the end is I have a thread coming out the front. I went to the end and back. Thread coming out the front and a thread coming out the back. So it's coming out right in the middle of my rainbow, right there. What I do, this is how I do it. Not everybody does it this way. I tuck my needle back into the hole and I kind of pull it out into this white area here. So it's in the hole and I pull it out into that white area. So I'm going to pull this, and that's how I tuck the end in. So nobody's going to see all this area because I'm putting all the other rainbows on it, right? Nobody will see it. So I've kind of tucked it there. I'll cut this edge. I didn't tie a knot, but nobody's going to be pulling at the middle of the rainbow. It doesn't matter. Okay? Now, the other side, I have the floss hanging out, and that is where we started. The white felt is included in the rainbow bundles if you get a bundle. Okay, so this is the floss that was hanging out where I started. I just put it back into my needle, and I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Watch. See how it's coming right from the middle of my bow here? I'm going to go back in that same hole, but not go to the other side. I'm just going to bring it out kind of tucked behind that white felt and pull it. Okay, and then trim it. So now my little ends are kind of tucked, right? And I can go onto the orange and start stitching again. The die cutting machine that I use when cutting with felt, I'll tell you. I don't have any felt here, go figure. Yeah, can you just grab one of the Poshta pockets, please?
And do you use any specific sandwich or whatever?
I will show that.
Yes.
Okay, so on this one now, I can take my orange and start doing orange in the same way. All right, the example I'm showing now is how Poshta does it. They do the white stitching after. You can do it either way, but there you can see if you just hold those on there now, the felt kind of sticks to the felt. All right, let me get some orange floss. Thank you. Oh, there's a lot there. Is that geranium or tangerine? I have a lot of tangerine. I've bought a lot. I have bought so much felt. Okay, so here I want to show the pocket. Can you get a pocket that's less full for me to show too? Okay, but I will show you this. First of all, felt. The way that I cut felt, I use my Empress die cut machine. All right. And I usually, if you watch my videos, when I go to cut like this die here, I would usually, if I'm cutting cardstock, place it like this on my magnetic mat, place the die on top, and run it through. And that's how I would cut the white cardstock. That's how I would do the white cardstock that's sandwiched between the white felt here. But the felt is thicker. So this is how I handled the felt. I have my metal shim that comes with the Empress. I put that down. There's the metal plate. I put down my die. Then I put the felt on top and a cutting plate. Because if you cut into the cutting plate, it cuts a deeper cut than if you cut into the metal shim. So because this is thicker, I find if I put the die face up on the metal magnetic shim, then the felt, then the plate, and run it through, that will cut through it. You might need to put a shim in. That's the trick, is shims. You can use a metal shim or you can use a cardstock shim, but there, that cut out. And all these little holes are cut. You just can't really see them right now, but they are all cut here, okay? So that's how I cut felt. As far as how oh, and by the way, if you have a different die cut machine, it's the same thing. You're going to put some shim in there, okay, to make sure that it'll cut through. As far as how I store my felt, let's be clear, I have an obsession. Cami, don't tell my secrets. I have an obsession with felt. I store my felt in Altenew storage pockets. I have them linked below. These are big enough to hold a full sheet of cardstock. And in there I have my felt, and I also have the thread that Poshta says matches that felt. So this is Poshta Sapphire. So this is my sapphire felt. She sells it on rolls or in sheets. I like the rolls, okay? And I just unravel the rolls and fold them up and put them inside. I also put one of the thread that she says matches inside, but honestly, I have containers full of this kind of DMC floss that I've had for years. And so I often will use that, but I do like to keep the thread in there that's supposed to match in case I want that perfect match. All right. So on here, so I have lots of these lined up on my shelf, standing on my shelf, and I can see this edge here. On the edge, I labeled the name. And then here, I used a Spellbinders oval die. I have the die set linked in my YouTube description below. What'd I do?
No,
Okay. And I put that on there, and I used a long reach stapler. I have that linked below to staple it on there because tape didn't really want to hold it. So it's stapled over the edge so that when it's all lined up on my shelf, I can see the colors right there. I can see the true colors. So I die cut the felt from an oval, stapled it on with a long reach stapler, and there we go. I think that white flower is from something else, but Poshta has so many white flowers, or so many flower dyes that you could use. Okay, so that's how I store my felt, and I have this all lined up, more than I will ever admit to, lined up on a shelf in my storage room, okay? So that's how I do felt. How are these dies different than other dies used in card making? I believe Elizabeth is here. I'm hoping she will say, but I believe these cut a little bit deeper. But you definitely can use other felts, or I'm sorry, other dies to cut from felt. You just need to put a shim in there. If you find your metal shim, oh, I had already cut some. If you found your metal shim is a little too much pressure, try a piece of cardstock. If a piece of cardstock shim isn't enough pressure, try 2 pieces of cardstock as a shim. We listen and we don't judge. Thank you, Randy. All right. So what I just pulled out here are 3 plies of floss. I pulled it out of the 6 ply. Why does everybody call when I'm live? Okay. Now let me show you how I like to thread my needle. There are needle threaders out there. If you struggle with threading a needle, buy those little gadgets. They're inexpensive. There are a million different versions, but this is what I do. I take my floss and I make it into like a little loop. See, there's a little loop right there? See that little loop? And then I pinch that loop between my finger and my thumb. See, it's pinched right there, the top of the loop. And I kind of squeeze that loop. I take the needle of the eye of my needle and press it down onto that little loop and kind of wiggle and pull. And I usually takes maybe 1 or 2 attempts and I get it. So there's that little loop. I wiggle that on, there we go, I got it. But you can also buy any kind of threader, and that will help too. I'm just lose mine, so. Okay, so I have held the orange on both sides. Again, you can start at the end, but I just start right in the middle. And I make sure it's coming out both sides. And I pull it, and if you want to, you can take one of your clips and clip that end down. So see, I keep a long tail there. Now I just start going to one end or the other, it doesn't matter, doing that running stitch, which is every other. And I find it really good to look from one side, go down the next hole. Flip it, go down the next hole. So I can make sure when I flip it, I'm making sure I'm coming out in the right spot instead of like off kilter. So again, that's an every other stitch. So I'm gonna go and do this orange and just finish off the ends to show you once again. And then we'll move on to some next steps. This is something I do when I walk. Okay, I know, I'm weird, but Cammie just laughed at me. She just sat at a baseball game with me yesterday while I stitched a bunch of hearts, didn't I? We won, see? Okay, hold on. I did every other stitch, a running stitch, and now I'm at the end. So I'm at the end here. So what do? I go backwards and fill in those stitches. Super easy, it'll look great on both sides. Yeah, there are many ways you can thread a needle. That's the one that works for me. That's just what works for me. I will start one of these bows, and then I will take a walk up the street and down the street, and my bow will be done. And then I thread on the next, and I'll walk up the street and down the street. I did that this morning to stitch all of these hearts that you see here. I know, but here's the thing. I used to do it on a treadmill. You just walk slow. I walk barefoot because grounding is a good thing. And this isn't a race.
It's just like
I know people
looking at their phones while they're watching.
Yeah, some people look at their phones while they're watching. It's the same thing. Yeah. But my point is, the point of saying that is you get into a rhythm of doing every other stitch, and you can watch TV, you can wait for water to boil when you're trying not to cook, anything. You can do this anytime once you get the hang of it. Yeah, there are embroidery needles and tapestry needles. Tapestry needles are aren't as sharp. You can try any of them. You can try any needles that you want. But I will say the one that Poshta sells is probably the best option for this because she's the expert. But I did link below to the 2 sizes of needles that I like. I don't want them to be too blunt because I want it to be easy to stitch, but you can try one of the blunt needles if you're worried about poking your eye out, which I get. All right, so I went all the way to this edge, every other stitch. Now I'm going back every other stitch, and look I'm about to meet up with where I started. So I'm gonna go to the other side. You'll end with some floss coming out one side, some floss coming out the other. What I like to do, see I'm coming out right in the middle of that rainbow. I like to just tuck back into the same hole and just tuck under some of that white. This is all going to be covered with the other colors. Yeah, you could do inside or outside walking. So see how it's just coming out down here, and trim it. I don't feel like you need a knot on this because nobody's going to be pulling on it. Hi, Erica. All right, so it's actually coming out right there, but nobody will ever know. So now this side, here's where I started, that little tail that I started with. I'll just put my needle back on. So I just do this little folded doosier. Again, there are many ways you can do that. And then I messed up, sorry. It's harder when everybody's watching. I go down the same hole where my thread is coming out, but I don't go all the way through. I just kind of go at an angle, so I'm kind of coming out the white here. Pull it and cut it, and nobody will ever see those. I try to avoid knots because the bulk, or I'm afraid I'm going to see them, I'm not careful. So the tucking works well for me. All right, so that's how I go about doing it. So after you've done all those, then you could do white stitching around the edge, which puts the stitching on the top. Now, another way, that's how Poshta did it in the examples I showed you. If you want to know how to stuff, thank you, Erica. If you want to know how to make your heart fluffy, instead of that white cardstock on the inside, you skip that, leave a gap on the side, and put stuffing in it. That's what Poshta does, and she has examples on her website. I think she's going live tomorrow showing some of this. So if you want to learn how to stuff it so you have a fluffy heart, you can. I want something that's flat that will mail on a card. It's totally up to you, okay? Now, this one is a little different. This one, I did the same thing I showed you before. I put a piece of cardstock and I put a piece of white felt on both sides. So there's cardstock in there. Okay, so this is felt, cardstock, felt. And I stitched around the outside with white, doing that every other stitch. You know what? Let me go get, hold on. I'm going to get some more hearts so I can show you that. Hold, please. They're in the other room. Hold, please. Oh, please be some out here. Oh, no. Dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Hang on. I'm coming. Mike, talk to them.
Wants me to talk, but I have nothing to say.
Dang it. Dang it.
Just looking at questions.
Oh, shoot. Are you talking to them, Mike?
A good job of talking, sorry.
Why didn't you send me for what you needed?
Sorry.
There is a question here. It says,
What's the question?
what do you do with the last color? Do you tuck the 3 up under the higher colors?
Good question. How do I show you that? Good question. Yes, so let me think. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to demo this because I have a lot of things prepped, but I don't have that step prepped. What I would do, say this yellow right here. Say this is your last color, the purple arch along the bottom. Say that is your last one, okay? I'm going to show you how I would end it, okay? It's easy because this is another way to do it. What are you laughing about?
All the questions are from Mike.
The questions are for Mike.
Where are you going in Japan? Where's your favorite place to go to dinner? Who's older? Are you a gamer or just pinball?
Mike is not a gamer. He is a pinball guy, and he is 7 long years older than me.
Yep.
And we've been good friends we always got along. In fact, when I graduated from college, we bought a house together, and he still lives in that house. Okay. All right. So just pretend, okay, that is the last arch, the purple arch, okay, along the bottom. Just pretend. This is how I would end it. So let me start it. Oh, these colors are so pretty. You could just go up and down. You do the stitch the whole arch. So pretend I stitched the whole arch. It's the last arch. I need somewhere to hide my thread. This is what I do. So pretend that's all hidden. Or all stitched. That's all stitched along. What I do is this is the hole I came up in. My thread is coming out of. I go into the same hole and I go at that angle and I just kind of wiggle so that it comes out the top. Okay? And I pull that and then I cut close. I cut right there. So I tucked it under the bows I already did. No, we were the only ones in our family. Can you scroll it, please? Okay, so you just tuck under what you did already. All right? All right. I believe you get free US shipping with at Poshta with orders of 50 or more. Okay, so the example I was working on,
Actually,
you do the
125.
bows first, and when you're done, you stitch the white, and the white goes right along over those arches.
125.
125, okay. You might need to correct my information. I lied to you. Let's see. Now, let me show you the way that I normally do it. That's the way Poshta does it, and so your bows are stitched first, and then that white trim goes around, along the edge over the ends of your color bows. Are they called bows? I don't even know. See how quick this is? I do leave a trail of white dots wherever I go. When Christina was here and we were playing Mahjong, I stitch while we play, and I would let it all land onto in the center, the mat that we play Mahjong on, and she would keep picking them out, and I just kept putting them back in just to be a pill. It looked like snow. Okay, white cardstock. Let me show you how I start out these hearts. White cardstock, felt heart, felt heart. So cardstock is between it. I'm using their gray felt. I think it's like Overcast, or what's it called, Cami? Do you know?
What?
Their gray felt. It's like Overcast, or
Yeah, that's it.
is that it? Okay. I also like using Overcast instead of white. You can also use like a blue. You could do whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm pulling out 3 ply of white. Oh, shipping is only $5.50 though. Good deal. Oh, that's good. I'm telling you, it's a mom and pa, great people.
Overcast.
Overcast. So this one is Overcast. Oh, I should show you this before I start stitching. Look at this bit of goodness. This is almost all the Poshta felt. I don't have them all. I haven't bought them all yet. I don't have a lot of the browns and grays, but I have some of them. People are going to ask how I made this. I found a small, like little tag die. I have it linked below. It's from Elizabeth Craft Designs. It's just a random tag die. I like that it was narrow at the top, bigger at the bottom, so I could label at the bottom, and I didn't waste a lot of felt. I have it linked again in the YouTube description below. It's Elizabeth Crafts. This die is from. You could just cut rectangles, and that would be fine, and put a hole at the top. But what I did, with the help of Cami, is I first took Altenew double-sided adhesive and put it on white cardstock, on the back of white cardstock. And then I die cut it into that tag. Then I cut the felt in with that same die, and I stuck them together. So this felt is backed with white cardstock, and I put the name of the color on the back. So here are all the colors. This took some time, but it's definitely worth it because I can find the colors I need more of or whatever fast. I can also flip and find which colors I think work well together. So all of these are my Poshta ones. I have them on a wire ring. I actually have 2 wire rings hooked together because there are so many. I have all the supplies for this linked below. But again, I did white cardstock with Altenew double-sided adhesive on the back. I cut the tag from it. Then I also cut the tag die from felt, and I stuck those together. And then I used my label maker to put the colors on the back. Okay? So this color, the gray that I like, is a light gray, and it's called Overcast. There's a bit of a darker heather, and that is pewter. So you can see there's lots of different options from Poshta. Okay, so I cut the heart with the bows from Overcast. You could do white. I cut it once, then I did cardstock in between, and then I cut it again. Now you can use clips, but I find a little bit of tape runner really helps to hold it all together. All right, so there is that stuck to one side of the cardstock, this stuck to the other. And then I can start stitching. You can also, to really make sure it doesn't shift, add the little clips. Now, the way I normally do this, when I've made all of the examples I showed you, I start like this, cardstock in between two pieces of felt. And then I just randomly start anywhere. I'll start right there. I leave a long tail. I can clip it if I want it to not get in the way. And then I start doing that every other stitch. Down, flip over, next hole go down, flip over. And I go all the way around. Okay? If this is, can you let me know the angel policy if you wanted to stitch these and sell them for charity? Poshta, hopefully you can mention what your angel policy is. I just sent a bunch of little pre-cut pieces of Poshta felt and die cuts and like a little baggie with the thread already cut and a little roll of adhesive and some clips and scissors and everything to a few friends that I want to form to start that addiction. And it was a fun little gift. So see how I'm going every other stitch here? It is. It is the opposite of AA. Okay, so see how I'm going every other stitch, and I'll go all the way around. Okay, so say I went all the way around, all right? And I did every other stitch all the way around. I will end up reaching where I started, and then I go back, just like I did on the bows. So pretend I went all the way around. Now I'm gonna reverse, and I'm gonna go every other stitch and fill in the gaps that we had. So see how I just filled in? These still have gaps between. These I'm filling in. So it's very easy once you've gone all the way around, because then you just go back and go in between, okay? And you're just gonna do that all the way around the heart. So you go stitch one way and then go backwards. So once you're done, say that's all done, you'll have what looks like this. So see, there's full stitching all the way around the heart. See that? And then I start doing the bows on top of that as I showed you before, okay? So I just do the bows directly on that, and you end up with this look where the bows are on top of the white heart. That's what I like to do. Now, you end up with these ends, right, on the heart. I do the same thing I showed you before. Say I was done here. I have my thread coming out this hole. I go back down the same hole, but only through that top layer of felt. And I just pull my needle. I've tucked it under, let me show you. I've tucked it underneath that top layer of felt, and I'll just come out the side here and cut it. So I like to tuck my thread into what I've already stitched instead of tying knots and trying to hide them. So then I still have this little end that I started with. I'll thread my needle. I go back through that hole where that floss came out, put my needle through it, and just go through that top layer of felt, come out the side, and that tucks that end in, and then cut the extra off. Nobody's pulling on these. I don't think there's any need to do knots. I feel like that's the easiest way to hide it, okay? So I usually do that stitching first, so I usually have a ton of hearts like that are, here's a couple here, where it's felt, cardstock felt, so felt on both sides, and the white stitching around the edge is already done. And that way, all I have to do is add whatever bows I want to add to it. Does that make sense? It's very therapeutic. I have formed many addictions with this. Yeah, now listen, if rainbows are not your thing, Poshta has many things you can do. There are flowers, zombies, birds, flags, kites, hot air balloons, anything you can think of, she has. Yeah, you could make these fluffy with a little lavender inside, little scented things. There's a lot you can do with it. But I love this. So yesterday when I was at a baseball game, I stitched the white because it was easier to bring to a game all of the white. So I just brought some white floss like this, some white felt die cut, the cardstock, and I just stitched around the edge on all. And now I just need to add the bows to it. All right. Mike, you might have to figure that out. I don't know where Lyle and Ken should be back. Oh, they had an appointment. Okay. All right. So that is the, let's see, that's the start of that. Okay, as far as how to finish this off, there are things, this is the vivid color combo, which is what I was just showing you. I really like it. There are lots of things that you could do to this. All right. You could use baker's twine at the top. You could have held ribbon in between the layers when you go to stitch. I don't like to. I'd rather put like a thin string at the top, like I have on the top of this one, like a silver or gold string. I linked below to some silver string that I think works well. And I just hook that along the top. I don't think I have the right needle for this one. I grabbed the wrong silver. Hold on. I'll find it.
Will this needle work?
Here we go. I got this. No, I got this. Okay, I linked below to the silver string that I like to put on the top. There is silver. Yes, I did strips on both sides, but you don't have to. I'll show you some other things you can do in a moment. I just put one ply of like a silver string. You could use baker's twine, whatever you want. And this is how I add it. I add it at the end because I feel that's easiest. Yeah, jewelry cord will work, whatever you want. For this one, I put it right at the top here. But on this one, what I'll do is I'll go in between the cardstock and the felt on one side and then come out the cardstock and felt on the other side. So I'm kind of in between. So I got this little stitch here. Oop, come on, end. So it's really only hooked on the cardstock. So the ends are hidden in the felt. Then I'll do that same on the other side of the little V shaped here. And pull that out. And there I have these two ends hooked up there. And I can tie a knot, and that's how they would hang it. There are other ways you could do this. You could stitch ribbon ends like up here and up here. As you're stitching, hold them there. But I find this to be the easiest. So now I've got this little hangy thing like that. And the silver is like tucked in behind the felt on both sides. So it's really hooked, stitched around the cardstock in the middle. But really any way you want. You could also hook it like up, put this string up here so the heart hangs at an angle, whatever you want. And then if you'd like, Poshta has so many different little hearts or little flowers like this. You could put some flowers on it. I haven't gotten to that yet, but you could, or you could put another heart onto it. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. She also has letters, so if you want to put somebody's initial on it, but there's something really sweet about just having it like this, and I do two-sided. You could also put cloud dies. She has some cloud dies, which I'll show you in a moment. Lots of different ways you could finish this off. But the nice thing about this is it's not thick. Look at that. So you can put it onto an A2 card with no problem. All right, so let me show you how I would add that to a card. I've got some more things to show. But the way I would add this to a card, there's a few things you can do. You can hold it right at the center of your card, like right here. You could stamp a little greeting here. You could put some decorative stuff on the back. But the way I would do it, there's two different ways. You can take, oh, hold on, a piece of washi. So like piece of washi like this. Hold your rainbow on the front and then fold the ends back. So here's the easiest way to do it. Open up your card, hold your rainbow where you want it to be, and put some temporary tape up here on the front. That's where I want it to be, okay? Like that. Then I flip it over, hold the ends back on the inside, and put some washi tape right there. Flip this, remove that tape, and it will hang on the front of your card. And the recipient will easily be able to know that you can take that off. okay? So that is one way to attach it, all right, with the little washi tape over the edge. Another thing that you can do is create like a pocket on the front of your card that you tuck it into. So say there's like a half panel here on the bottom, glued along the edges, you can tuck it in. And then the other fun thing you can do is put 2 little notches at the top front of your card, and then tuck those ends into it. Like that. And see how it's tucked into those 2 little notches at the top? And there it kind of hangs on the front of your card. All right. You could die cut a sentiment and just add it to the front. I mean, it could be a paper sentiment. It doesn't have to be cardstock, but you could add a little sentiment to it and glue that right to the front if you wanted to. This is from Altenew, but you could add it kind of hanging off the side. You can do whatever you want. If you don't want to go down that felt slippery slope, you could do this from cardstock too. Yes, any die cut machine should be able to cut this. You just might have to put in a shim, such as some extra layer of cardstock or a metal shim. All right. Yeah, pocket would work. There's lots of different things that you could do to add it to a card. But I mean, think about all your sentiments that you could easily add to it. So by putting cardstock in between, it gives you support. Otherwise, if you're just gluing felt or stitching felt, it's kind of floppy and it's not a great place to start. I do much prefer to have felt or cardstock in the middle. I feel it's easier to stitch. It makes it stronger and it just works better as a card maker to put on the front of a card. But you by all means can skip the cardstock. It would be flimsier like this, all right? Or you can stuff it with stuffing, which I don't do often just because I don't want to carry stuffing around. And it also makes it bulkier, which makes it harder for me to figure out how to ship it. Okay, so that is the Heart Love dies, the new die set. This is the only die set that is not included in the sale because it's just released today. It's one that I asked her to do. But I'm going to show you some other things now. Do keep in mind that the Heart Love die set comes with the solid heart that you can stitch around the edge and then put whatever you want on it. You can put anything you want under it. Somebody asked, do I decorate the card usually? I'll tell you what I normally do. When I put this on the front, I also tie these onto gift bags a lot. If I put that on the front, what I would do is I would use on the background here like a cover plate die, like a Lawn Fawn or a Pink Fresh cover plate die, cut it from white and glue it onto the white card. So you would have that texture, but it wouldn't be distracting on the background. And then I would do like a little sentiment here or put my sentiment directly onto the heart. Sure, you can add scent for sure. What is your preferred cardstock weight for the middle? I use Neenah Classic Crust Solar White 110 pound, but really I think you could use whatever you have. And if you feel like it's still too kind of flimsy for you to start stitching through, double up. You can do die cut 2, hold them together. Okay, so that is the Heart Love, the Heart Love. Love Heart, Heart Love. Heart Love, Love Heart. Rainbow Love. What is it called? Rainbow Love. It's called Rainbow Love. Heart's not even in it. But do know. Yeah, you could do a pierced background. Have I tried stiff felt? What's she doing? Okay. I do not like to use stiff felt because it doesn't die cut as well. The felt that I have linked below and the ones I mentioned at the beginning are definitely my favorite felt to die cut and stitch with. Yes, you can cut with your Gina K machine. Absolutely. In fact, the Gina K Intracut would probably be even better because you can dial it a little bit to make it a little more pressure to cut through the felt. All right, so a few things. I talked about the needles and the thread I use and the felt I use. The scissors I use. These are the scissors I use. In fact, they're very inexpensive. I told you I put little kits together for all my friends. They each got a pair of these scissors. They fold up. I mean, I've been using scissors like this since I was a kid. They fold up nicely, and they're perfect. I take them on the airplane. I just like these new ones because look at their iridescent. Isn't that cool? But a little secret here, to cut thread, you could even use fingernail clippers. But these inexpensive ones are the ones I use, these fold-up scissors, and I've got them in the supply list below as folding travel scissors. Do you ever just cut the felt with your die cutting? Do you just cut the felt with your die cutting machine? Yeah. If you scroll back a little bit in the video, I showed how I cut it. But really, you cut it like you do paper. You just might need to put an extra shim in there. If a bundle of felt sells out, she will get more. She always gets more. You can also pick your own colors to put on these rainbows by just going through. She has so many colors of felt. I mean, there are lots of different, like this pastel. Where's the pastel one?
Right behind muted. Look behind.
Oh, there it is, hiding. Okay, sorry. This is like very light. Say you want just like a little bit darker. You can go through on her website and pick out colors that make your rainbow, however you want your rainbow to be. She had, she had come out with these originally, these three, and I wanted kind of this rosy color and like a muted rainbow. It's kind of like a fall rainbow, and the neutral. She put this one together. I wanted the skin tones, and that's the one I thought would look good with a red heart on it. But you can put your own bundles together too. Yeah, Spellbinder's Platinum cuts it well too. Yep.
Somebody asked about getting the needle and scissors on the plane.
I have not. I fly a lot with this stuff. I've never had problems with the scissors and these scissors and this needle on the plane. If you're concerned, just take the needle. Needles are always fine. And take fingernail clippers. Yep, the Spellbinder's machine works. Yep. Okay, so again, you can either do the white stitching around the edge first and then the rainbow on top, or vice versa. I prefer, again, to do the white first so that the rainbows are on top. If you prefer the white stitching to go over the rainbows here, then you want to put your bows down first. Okay, so that is the Rainbow Love die set. It's brand new and lots of different colors here. All right. I'm going to show you another rainbow, which is the older rainbow. I'm just going to show you briefly, and then I'm going to show you the tulip. Scissors need to be less than 4 inches in length, and they are approved for TSA travel. These are less than 4 inches. Thank you, Leanne. All right. Next. All right. Thought I would look at, I forgot one thing about this one. If you don't want to do the, hi there.
Catastrophe.
What?
We waited for the appointment for 20 minutes. They never called her back.
Hold
so
on.
I had to reschedule it.
What happened?
The lady never came up. And I got to get to my appointment.
Oh,
So
okay.
you have to take her back tonight at 6:30.
Oh,
She said you were going to Soma anyway.
on it. Okay. Yay. Okay. Okay.
We sat there for half hour on this.
That stinks. Did she get a snack? Sorry, guys. Hang on. Ken just came with Lila.
Limited fruit bowl.
Okay, good. That's good.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's good.
Okay, good.
All right. See you guys later.
Okay. Let me show you what I did here. If you don't want to have the rainbow on both sides, you don't have to. Remember, the die set comes with a solid heart too. So if you want the back to be solid heart with no bows, what you can do is cut from the cardstock and one of the hearts with the holes for the bows. So on the back here, this is just cardstock and one layer felt. And then I stitched the bows on All right. Then you can take a solid white, put it on the back and stitch around in white so that the back is solid. If you don't want to take the time to cut bows for both sides. So you can do it either way. If you don't want the bows on the back side, I just do one piece of cardstock, one piece of felt with the holes cut, put my bows down, then put my solid heart on the back and stitch around with white. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is Poshta has some words, and I have some of those linked below. This Hugs is from the Poshta Design Conversation Hearts. And what we did here is I cut a solid heart with the solid die. I took the hugs, it just cuts the holes for hugs, and I laid it here, run it through. All right, and that gives you the holes for hugs. Then I stitched the hugs. Now I can take this, put it on the back, and stitch around the edge there. So one side says hugs, and one side has the rainbow. Yeah, so she has different words, love you. You can even do initials, somebody's initials on there. You can do the date. You could put something completely different on the back or leave it just white. But if you want to do it so the back isn't bows also, you just want to do one layer of cardstock, one layer of felt, put your bows on. So this is exposed cardstock on the back. Then take your solid, put it on the other side of the cardstock and stitch around. So again, the cardstock's sandwiched in the back. Yeah, you can do solid. So this one here would be, if I stitch around in white, it would have the hugs on the back. But you could also skip the hugs and just stitch the white on the back like that. All right, or you could do a solid color. You could, if you wanted to, cut this from white cardstock. Okay, so you could cut this from white cardstock. Let me do it real quick and show you. Hold, please. Mike, do you mind checking on her? Thank you. All right. So I cut this from white cardstock. All right, the solid heart. So I can take this, write my message on it, and then stitch it onto the back. So it's felt here, then there's 2 layers of cardstock, and this is flat and I can write on it. So I can write, Cammie, you're a rock star, and then give it to her. Stitch around the edge. So the back could be solid felt, it could be solid cardstock, or it could be the double-sided bows like I showed you earlier. Honestly, if you don't want to fuss with the bows on each side, this is a really easy way to start. You just start with cutting the heart with the bows, cut a cardstock with the heart with the bows, hold those together, stitch on the stripes, and then stitch around with white with a solid background. Okay? What do I search on to get the colors of felt with the thread to match? Well, if you get the bundles, one of the bundles that I talked about at the beginning, like the muted, say you get that bundle, they're at the top of my YouTube description supply list, you get the colors of felt, the white felt, and the thread to match all of those in the bundle. But say you go to Poshta and you just want to buy some of the smooch felt. If you look in the description of smooch felt, it tells you what number floss matches, and you can go buy that floss on their website too. All right.
I'll check.
All right.
Can you? Lana's good.
She's good?
Oh yeah, she's fine.
Okay, good. Hey. Okay, so there you go. How many rainbows does one bundle make? Patty, I'm not sure. If Poshta's still here, hopefully she can answer that.
She answered earlier.
Oh, she answered earlier?
There's also something about if somebody forgot to enter their code.
If you forgot to enter be sure to enter your code. If you forgot, you can contact Poshta. I don't know what their policy is.
They are here,
They're
so
here.
hopefully they saw that one.
Can you scroll it, Cammie?
Sorry.
That's okay. I say it every time during a live a million times. I need a little bit of mint. I showed how I organize earlier in this video. So if you scroll back, I showed how I organize mine.
Poshta answered how many hearts had come out of a roll.
What'd she say?
I can't remember,
Oh, okay.
but she answered it earlier.
Okay,
11 hearts
11 hearts
from a full felted roll of felt.
from a bundle of
From a roll.
felt. Okay. Okay. So you can cut 11 heart shapes from one of the rolls. And obviously you can cut more bows from those rolls. But Poshta's here and hopefully she can give more information. Can you scroll a little more?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It just happens.
I was trying to.
Okay. There we go. Thank you. The beginner dies, I think the rainbow love one that I just showed you is a great one. I think it's a good one. Now this one is called the Joyful Rainbow. Joyful Rainbow. I showed this one on Black Friday. I did a bunch of these on Black Friday. And you can see I've sent a bunch out, but I still have tons. I make these constantly, all the time. And I even have felt cut to give to friends when they come over so that they can also be addicted. Now this is the Joyful. Now I have bought, I bought all of these. And I have, I think, how many sets of rainbows do you think I have, Cammie?
3.
3 or 4?
3, I think.
But let me show you what comes in a set. Because I have multiples in this little container here. Hold on. The same number of arches on these is on the heart. So if you buy a bundle, you can use it for either set. Okay, so this is, you get those dies. Then there's also this little heart that comes with it that you can add. And then also some raindrops. I'm not sure how many raindrops because I don't use them, but you can make raindrops hang from your rainbow. So this is the Joyful Heart die set. This is an older one. This one's included in the 15% off. And you can make hearts or rainbows like this. Okay, so what I do, once again, is I start with the solid. I cut it from white cardstock. Now, I don't need white felt on each side because the bows will cover it. Ignore the rainbows. I don't need white felt on either side of my cardstock. I need bows on either side. So, let me just show you. I'm starting with white cardstock here. This is how I pop all the little bits out. And I usually do this right over wherever I am. I went on a cruise once and I think I left a trail of these everywhere I went. But I do it all over my house. Okay, so I'm just going to start with that top arch there. Okay, so this is cut from white cardstock. Now I take my first arches and what I like to do, easiest way, so this is cardstock. You could start from felt, but this is much easier. I put some tape runner on the front and I lay this down so the hole at the bottom of that arch lines up with the hole of the felt. And I just wrap this around. And it'll end right in the right place. Okay? See? And now I don't have to worry about the clips. You can do the clips. You could clip. But I think this really helps. Now I'll flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side. These I've done a billion times because I've had this die set longer. I will never admit how many I've made. But now see, I have a bow on each side. So yes, there are bundles available. The bundles give you all the felt and all the thread you need to make rainbows. But the dies aren't included because you may want these dies or you may want these dies. The bundles of felt and thread work with either dies, the traditional rainbow or the heart rainbow. All right. So I appreciate that she took the dies out. Also, the dies used to be included in the bundle, but what if you wanted one color bundle and the other? You don't want 2 sets of dies, unless you're like me and do a lot of cutting.
People saying that's how they can find you, track you down, the
Yes.
trail of the
I'm
little
like,
dots.
who does that?
They
Who
said,
leaves
"Don't
the
commit a
trail?"
crime."
Who? Which kid's story that leaves a trail of breadcrumbs? That's me. You could. Does the glue make your needle stick? No. This is a tape runner that does little dots of glue, and I didn't put much down. It's not like I'm using glue, like a tape of glue. Let me show you. It's little dots, so I've never had problems. See, it puts tiny little dots. Oh, come on. Gina K does this too. See it? It's little dots of adhesive. It's not going to be like, it's not going to muck up the holes. I've never had problems with that. If you're concerned that your adhesive would muck up the holes, like if yours puts down a solid strip of tape, then you could just do the clips. I'll show you how the clips would be. I have 3 ply here of a pink to match. The clips, I would just put like one here, one here, and one here, and that would hold it. Hold them on both sides. Hansel and Gretel, thank you. There are in this set of clips longer ones that stretch in to hold the bows that are in the inside. Okay, so with these, I start at the end. All right, so I start stitching at one end. I just go through the holes at the end. I don't need the clips. And I leave a tail, so you can see the tail. And I go all the way around the arch, going, doing the skipping stitch, the running stitch. So here I'm going down a hole, flip it, go down the next hole, flip it, go down the next hole, flip it, down the next hole, Red Riding Hood. Yeah, I leave trails everywhere. And I just keep going every other stitch all the way around. Now I'm going to do this whole arch here so I can show you how I end it. What questions are there? Do you know?
Well, some of them may have been answered by now.
Okay. Do you have to use felt? Absolutely not. You can use cardstock. This would be great to do from cardstock. In fact, if you get this stuff and you want some practice before you do felt, practice with cardstock. Cut your bows from cardstock. Cut everything from cardstock. That will be easier to like hold together. Yes, you could do it all from colored cardstock, whatever. And that would actually be a great way to practice your stitches and get used to it before you move on to felt. All right, so you definitely could do that. See, I'm going along doing that running stitch. See, every other stitch.
How long does it take you to stitch one
Okay,
rainbow?
I don't know how long it takes. I will say the heart rainbows are faster because the bows are smaller. They're shorter. See, the pink bow here is just that, whereas this one's bigger. But I really don't know how long it takes because I usually do it in pieces. Another thing I will say is she has a lot of other dies that require less stitching time. I like these because I'm going to get a good amount of time stitching without having to change my thread. And I want that. I want to be able to stitch a lot because that's what I enjoy doing. But she has lots of other ones that require less stitching, like this flower right here. The only stitching this flower right here requires is around that circle and then on the leaves. A lot less stitching to get that flower. So she's got lots of options. I linked in my supply list in the YouTube description below all of my favorite of her die sets. I like the rainbow that you see here, the Joyful Rainbow. I like the Rainbow Love, the new one. I like the Tulip. I've already requested more flowers. I'll show you the Tulip in a moment. And then I like her hearts. She has a collection of heart dies. Lots of different heart dies. There is the basic heart die set. I have it linked below to the collection of hearts. There's like the basic heart die set. It is a big heart, not this shape. It's a little squattier. And then I just had that heart. This one. And this one's also in it, this size. And you can stitch on there anything you want. I like to add little flowers. Sometimes I stitch those flowers to the heart. Sometimes I use the tacky glue I showed you earlier, or a hot glue gun. She also has add-ons for those hearts. So she has add-ons to make the heart be like a scallop edge, or have like a bow that goes around it. There are lots of different things that you can mix and match with. Oh, I was gonna actually show you. One of her die sets has a little ladybug in it. And I thought a little ladybug would be fun to add to some of these things too. So you can mix and match a lot of her sets. I also like a lot of her sets that have little flowers that I can just arrange on anything.
Which sandwich do you use with the Empress die cut?
For the Empress, the sandwich I use, I went through it at the beginning of the video, so you can scroll back and see that. But basically, no matter what machine you use, you just want a little more pressure to your machine. So I recommend adding a metal shim or a cardstock shim.
And somebody asked, does cutting into the metal shim dull your dies? So I think you got the order wrong.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to cut. I don't cut into the metal shim. My metal shim is, there's my metal shim. So it's cutting plate, metal shim, my magnetic plate on my Empress. Then I put my die down, and then I put my felt down, and then my cutting plate. So the die is cutting into the cutting plate. The shim's just back, the metal shim's just back there to give extra pressure. All right.
You have a sample of what stitching would look like directly on paper.
I don't have any examples of stitching directly on paper here, but I have done it many times. And I know a lot of people prefer that. And you, by all means, can do that.
Can you cut the felt on a big shot?
Yep, you should be able to cut this felt on any machine you have. I think the Intracut is a great choice for cutting the felt because you can dial a little more pressure on the side. I use my Empress because, as you can see, I cut a lot of felt at once. And so having an electric machine is really handy. Sharp needles or dull needles, really it doesn't matter. The one that I'm using now is the size that Poshta sells. It's a size 5. Hers comes in a cute little container, and I have that linked in the YouTube description below. Will they cut other materials? Poshta will have to tell us if it cuts leather or other things. I'm not sure, but I do know it cuts the felt, the high quality felt, and cardstock with no problem. I mentioned at the beginning, oh, the individual colors are called arcs. I've been calling them bows. I don't know why. Did I just make that up? They're arcs. I should have known that. Yes, Paper Tray has stitching dies too. I've noticed a lot of them are out of stock. I don't know if they're stopping carrying them or not. I'm not sure. But I've used theirs many times over the years. Okay, so I went all the way around doing every other stitch. And when I got here, I reversed it and filled in the stitches. So you can see these are all filled in, and I got to keep going to fill in everything that hasn't been done. So, and no matter what I'm doing, I'm going every other stitch. I go down a hole, flip it, down the next hole, flip it, down the next hole, flip it. I find the flipping it makes sure that you're going in and out the right holes. In the felt bundles, do you get rolls of each color? Yes, you get a roll of white and a roll of each of the colors. And then you get the little skein of matching floss. And that's 6-ply floss, and I like to pull it apart into 3-ply. By the way, if you're gonna stitch only on cardstock, you can try stitching with the 6-ply. It might give you a little bit more look of dimension to your stitching. Because when you stitch on cardstock, which I'll do one off screen and share in an Instagram story, if you stitch on cardstock, you're losing the texture of the felt, right? Which is fine. So you might want to try stitching with 6-ply of the floss on the cardstock for more oomph. But on the felt, I definitely do 3-ply. Thank you, Betsy. Betsy was the lucky recipient of one of my little packs of pre-cut rainbows. In the pack, I don't think I have any here. I had little envelopes, clear envelopes, where I had the cardstock rainbow, the bows in it, the clouds in it, and the floss in it. And I put a few packs into like a zipper pouch. I have the zipper pouch link below. I put a pair of my scissors, the fun little scissors. I put needles in a little needle container. I put some tape and some clips, and it was everything you needed to start stitching. Okay, so I started here. I stitched all the way around and all the way back. And so now my two ends are right here at the top of this cloud. In this case, my cloud is going to get stitched over that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, you can either put a double knot here if you wanted to. You can do a little double knot there because the cloud that we add to it will go over it. Or you can just take like a little piece of tape, tiny little piece of tape. I'm using yellow tape so you can see it. Hold those ends down, tape it here where there's no holes, and cut it. I'll hold it up so you can see. Nobody will ever see those. So you can either tie it in a knot there, or I just tape the ends down like that. Because I'm going to come in with the cloud and cover that up. So you won't see the end of that rainbow, of that arc. Okay?
Somebody asked if one is better to use on a card than another one.
The two rainbows, either would work. So you can see here's,
They'd all fit on.
yeah, they all fit on a card because Elizabeth is a card maker. The designer of these is a card maker. So you can either put this one, this is a A2 panel, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. You can put it this way or this way. This way you can put a little sentiment on there. You can hang it on the top like I showed you before and stamp. There's a lot of people who have rainbow sentiments or like have a handmade for you sentiment that you could put below it. I really don't think you need to put a lot on a card when you put the effort into this. So this I would probably put on a like a light pink card. I mean, you could put some interest like maybe embossing folder texture on the back, up to you. Okay, so I did the pink there. Now the next thing I do is I'd put a little bit of adhesive along the next arc or use clips and lay the next arc right up against the pink. Okay, like that. Flip it over. Do a little bit of the same. Again, you can use clips if you don't want glue. And notice I didn't use much glue. You don't need a lot. So now I would go and stitch my orange, then the yellow, then the green, then the blue, all the same way. And all the ends will be here. You can either double, like tie them in a knot or tape them down. Okay? And you end up with this. So this one is just finished. This one I did little knots. See the little knots there? There we go. See the little knots? Don't worry, they'll get covered by the cloud. All right? So I did the first arch, and then I just go to all of them. The little purple one doesn't take long at all to stitch. But now we need to add the clouds. And I really wanted to show this because I don't think I showed it very well in my Black Friday live because I didn't have a whole lot of time. But after you put all your bows down, now it's time to add your clouds. So what I have here is a pink heart. This is the pink heart that comes with this rainbow set is a tinier pink heart, which you can use. It's this size here. And you could put this size heart onto the cloud. But I chose a different heart. I don't know what set this is from. It's from one of her other die sets. I have a lot of, as you can see here, little random hearts and stuff from different sets that I use on it. So you can really use anything. You could even glue a heart die cut on it or use a heart button. The cardstock that I'm using is 110-pound Neenah Classic Crest Solar White, but you use whatever you got and it'll be fine. Even if you wanted to, another thing you could do is if that white peeking out, the white cardstock peeking out on the edge bothers you, before you start stitching, you could run a pink marker along that edge, but it doesn't bother me. Okay, so now I want to put a little heart on my cloud. So I'm taking one of my clouds that would go right here. Got to make sure it's the right way, like that. And I'll take my little pink heart that I die cut. You could glue this on. I'm just going to stitch. Let's see here. It just requires like 2 stitches. There's little holes. They're hard to see in the video. I just do 1 stitch there. And then and this one I can do like it doesn't matter what the stitch is like because you're not going to see the other side. So I did 2 little stitches right onto that heart, but you could always just glue it. If you've got heart buttons, that would be great too. So 2 little stitches there. You can also skip the heart. Now on this one, I'll flip it over and just tie my 2 ends together. You could use a smaller heart. You can put the heart wherever you want. You don't have to do a heart. You could do the little raindrops falling down. I want my rainbow to come without rain. Let's be honest. All right, now, when I add heart clouds to the bottom, you could do 1 cloud on the front, 1 on the back. So your cardstock is sandwiched between. But I like my clouds to be fluffy. And I like to make things more complicated. Right, Cammie?
Always.
Okay. Cammie, how many little clouds do you think we've cut? Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Hundreds and hundreds. And the die set comes with 2 clouds. One for these clouds are different. Oh, hi, Mom. You scared me. You just scared me. I didn't know you were here. Hi.
I didn't know she was here.
See?
Until I heard her breathing back.
What's up?
Nothing. Sounds like a party.
It's a party.
Always.
Okay. Now, let me show you how I do the clouds. With the clouds, I want to do extra fluffy. So, I'm going to do 2 clouds on the front and 2 on the back. So I have 2 of the exact same clouds. I'm going to hold them together, and those will get lined up on the front. Okay? Then I have 2 more of the exact same clouds, and those will get lined up on the back. Okay? So I have 2 clouds on the front, 2 clouds on the back. You could do 1. By all means, you could do 1. But I like a fluffy cloud. So I'm just going to line them up. This takes a little bit of lining up time. But once you have them lined up, clip those bad boys. Okay? So I'm clipping those. So I have 2 clouds on the back and 2 clouds on the front. I know, I'm weird. Now I'm going to start stitching. And really you can start stitching anywhere, but I usually start right here, like in the corner. And I go around the cloud. I always keep a really long tail hanging off. I go around the cloud doing the every other stitch. Always do the every other stitch. That way it looks pretty on the front and the back. Okay?
Who asked about me?
So down a hole, flip it over, down the next hole, flip it over. And I'm going to go all the way around, and I'm going to actually finish this so I can show you how I finish the end. So there are more. Yeah, you can hang the little raindrops from this with little thread. She has examples of that, Elizabeth does, on the Poshta website. I just didn't want raindrops on my clouds. I don't know. It's just what I wanted. So again, I'm going every other stitch around. Yes, there is a way to stuff this rainbow so it's fluffy. I don't do that because I like to put these on a card and mail them. But by all means, you can stuff away. There are videos where Elizabeth has shown how to stuff something like this. I'm going to clip my little, I have more clips. I'm going to clip my little thread up here so it stays out of the way, the other end. Now I've got enough stitching done. I don't need any more clips on my clouds. I'm just going to keep going around. I've gone this far so far. It is happy. The clouds will be fluffier because I have 4 layers of clouds, 2 on each side. However, if you want to save on felt and time and effort, you can just do 1 on each side. But who doesn't love, I'm a cloud junkie. That's like my one of my calming things. It's why I like to go to the lake every year, is because the clouds are just gorgeous. I have friends who take pictures of clouds and send them to me because I'm a cloud junkie. So for me, little clouds here are great. You could actually add these clouds to stitch some and then just glue them like onto the base of this, like that. Or you could even just do like that. That'd be cute on that too. So more things that you can do. You can use the clouds for other things. She has stars. She has everything. You name it. Strawberries, chickens, sequins. Yes, sequins would be nice. If you are adding sequins or beads, I link below to the beads I like. They're clear and clear silver and clear gold. You can see them. I did them on the centers of these. I like them because I can use my regular size 5 needle through the holes. And all I do for that is you come up a hole, put the needle on, or the bead on the needle, and then go back down the same hole. And you can add beads anywhere. But remember, you could add little gemstones that you have from your stash. What happened here? Gemstones, all those gemstones that we have for different things in our hobby. You can use a strong liquid glue to glue those little gemstones wherever you want. So instead of beads here, I could just have glued little gemstones. And I'll tell you, gluing little gemstones is a lot easier than fussing with little beads. But it's up to you. Gina said she went down the stitching rabbit hole and she blames me. Okay, so I got to right where I started my stitching, and now I'm going backwards and filling in the blank stitches. So it's always about going one way and doing every other stitch until you reach the end, and then, or reach where you started your stitching, and then go backwards and fill in the stitches that you skipped. This is called a running stitch. Do they have cow dyes? I don't know. They got a lot. They have Easter eggs. They have footballs. What else do they have? And all of those dyes, all the dyes on her site are 15% off, except for that rainbow love heart one that I showed you at the beginning, because that's brand new. Okay, so I'm going all the way around. I'm almost done. So see how I just keep flipping it so I can make sure my needle's going where I want it? And every time I just go down the next hole. If you flip between, it's easy to remember that.
Somebody asked
What's
if there was wool in the felt. And it's all wool, isn't it?
I believe this is all 100% wool felt. Acrylic felt does not die cut worth a toot. I'm running low on thread here. Let's see if I can make it. I think I can make it. I don't know. If you go to the Impress or the Impress site and go under Color FX, it's the blue ones there. I don't know what they are. Okay, so I'm all the way back to the beginning. So I have covered all of my stitches, just the right amount of thread. Okay, so all of the stitches around the cloud, and I have the end of my thread coming out one side and the other end of the thread coming out the other side. Now you can hide your knots, but this is what I do. I'm coming out of that hole right there. I'm going to go back down that same hole, but only through the felt. And then I just push my needle through to come out this other side. So see, it's right there. Hold on, gotta use my teeth. So see the needle's coming out down here. I just pull it and cut that down off. So I'm basically just tucking the end in. You can do knots, you can do other things, hidden knots. People have all kinds of things they like to do, but I'd rather just tuck it. Nobody's pulling on these, so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I came out this hole. Let me try to get it to focus. I came out this hole right here. So I'm going to go back in it, but just through that top layer of felt. And I'll just push it until I see my needle come out like another side of the cloud. I pull it, and then I cut that off. And there that cloud is added. Okay, and there's fluffy cloud on both sides. Then I do the same thing on the other cloud. And there you have a nice fluffy cloud. And really, the only way you know there's cardstock in there is that white that shows around the edge, but you could have colored that with a marker. All right, this is how I stitch. There are better stitchers out here. This is just what I found after doing a lot is easiest and works for me. I also got little fabric labels made that say share handmade kindness, and I glue them on the back of one of the clouds. I got those made on Etsy, and I linked to my source for that. I don't know her. I just order from her a lot, and it's linked in my YouTube description below. So you could get your name or the year, or you could skip that altogether. And you can, I think, iron those on. I just glued it on the back of the cloud. Tacky glue works well. This tacky glue is meant for felt. Like there's a felt tacky glue too. I have a bunch of different versions, but you can use Gina K Connect. Absolutely. You could use that too. I was just doing so much of this that I wanted to have something that I just used for the felt. All right, so this is the Joyful Rainbow. And I have one more thing I want to show you. I'm not going to show you all of it. I'm just going to kind of get it started because I feel like it's a little bit of a step up, but it's really one that I think is fun. I'm dropping everything.
So the person who was asking about the wool said she's allergic.
Oh, you're allergic to wool.
Could you use like craft foam?
You could probably, yeah, craft foam would definitely cut with these. Maybe Poshta here knows of something else that would work if you're allergic to wool. Cardstock would work absolutely. Craft foam would too. If you cut with craft foam, I would cut it and then give it some time to kind of get its oomph back. Let it settle back to its thickness and then start stitching. It should work absolutely fine. Okay, so those are rainbows. Now, the last one I just wanted to show you briefly is the tulip because I've been doing a lot of these. Oh, let me show you how I add the string. I want to do that again. So here's a little piece of string. Gold, just like gold, thin gold string. You can use baker's twine. You just need a bigger needle with a bigger hole in it, or eye. I like black and white baker's twine at the top too. But I just put that silver thin cord in my needle. And what I do is I go to the top and I pull one of the felt layers back and I put my needle through one of the holes. But I've pulled, see how I've pulled the felt layers back. So I'm only going through one of the holes of the cardstock. Okay, I pull through. Then I do the same thing over a couple holes at the top. So I'm going through, again, I pulled the felt back. Come on, it's hard to focus, see? And then pull that through. And then you can just tie a knot at the top. And that will hang nicely on something. All right. Yeah, the tulip, I love the tulip. Now the tulip, if you did the tulip from cardstock, it'd be a great bookmark. You could even do it from felt and it would be a great bookmark, but I put mine with some extra dimension because I like it. All right, so the tulip. I don't have my tulip dies here. Yeah, I do. I do. I do. Okay, this is the tulip die set. I've bought a few of them because I like to cut more at once. But in the die set, you get these things. And then there's also dies that cut these little two pieces, but I don't use them. So I don't even have the dies here. But you get all of these pieces and then dies that cut these two little pieces, which I don't actually use. Again, Elizabeth has so many little videos and blog posts and stuff about all these dies that you can follow. These are all cut white cardstock ready to go. So what I first do is I start out just like I did on my heart. I have a white cardstock die cut, and then I have two whites, white felts, and I hold one on the back and one on the front, and I die cut, or I'm sorry, and I stitch with white all the way around. Just like I started my hearts before. So I hold white felt on either side of cardstock, and you can use clips or a little bit of that tape. You can put a little tape on here, like here and here and here, and that will help it stick to the front, or you can use the little clips. But I have cardstock sandwiched between white felt, and I stitch white all the way around. Okay? If you prefer to have a solid back, there is the solid die. You follow the steps that I showed before for using a solid heart on the back of that heart die set. So you definitely could do, you could definitely instead, if you don't want your tulip two-sided like I have here, you could just put your felt on top of white cardstock, stitch around, add all your things, and then die cut a solid one to put on the back. You just have options. You could stuff this one too, but I like a double-sided whammy. I think they're pretty. I'll put a little loop on the top of this. So again, I would put white cardstock between two white felt die cuts and stitch the white all the way around. Like I showed you with the heart before, and you end up with this. So see, it's white felt on the front and the back. There's cardstock in the middle, and there's white stitching all the way around. Okay, felt on both sides. That's how I start all of these, all right? Then this is how I do it. There are a million ways you can do this, but this is how I do it. I have some green floss here. I only need 3 ply, so I pull out 1, 2, 3. And I save the rest for my next project. Yeah, Vicky, good point. Poshta includes sewing instructions, color printed sewing instructions with all of their dies that you get. All right, so you can definitely follow those too. I kind of do my own thing, but you can definitely follow those or follow her lives or her videos that she has. Will it dull the blades if I cut paper often? No, dies don't dull. They don't dull, trust me. I've stitched a lot of things hundreds of times and they don't dull. So I have my stem, and I'm going to lay my stem right on the holes I can see. I'll put it on one side like that. And let's get my clippy whippies out. I clip here. Now this would be a lot easier if you only did the tulip on one side and then put solid on the other side, but that's not what I'm doing because I like to make things more complicated. I'll put my stem on this side. It kind of sticks to the felt to hold it there long enough. Then I'll clip and clip. Where can you see Poshta examples? Go to the Poshta website, and if you want to see examples of the tulip, go to our search bar and search on tulip. And the products will show up and blog posts will show up. You can also go to her YouTube channel and check on her YouTube channel. She's got a great design team. You can follow her. She has a Facebook group that is great, and people share a lot of tips there too. You want to see a video of me outside walking and stitching? Okay, I'll probably have my pajamas on.
Somebody asked if you ever posted the picture of you two in your
Oh.
overalls.
We went outside.
But did you post the picture of you in your overalls?
No, we didn't post the picture, but I can show you one on my phone if you wait a minute. So to do the stem, I just started at the top here, got my piece hanging up here, and I'm going to stitch down and back up. All right. So I'm going to stitch all the way down and then all the way back up, and I'll end up with 2 ends hanging out up here. And this is what you will have, like this, the 2 ends hanging out up here. Now you can tie them out as a knot if you want to. I just left them there. I trimmed them short because our tulip's going to go on top. But now I have the stem. One-sided is easier, but I want to show you how to do two-sided. Let me see if I can find, I don't have all the pictures. I don't know whose phone they were on, but I have pictures of us outside on our walk. Here we are on our walk in our overalls. There is a funny one. I don't know if I can find it. I'm not going to be able to find it. There is a funny one. Oh gosh. I don't know that I'll be able to find it. I'll have to show it in the next live. There's some funny ones, but we did take a bunch outside while we were walking. Okay, so I stitched down, back up. All my ends are up here. All right, so I have stages that I've prepped to save us time. All right, after I did my stem, you could either do the 2 leaves or the tulip. Doesn't matter. But I'll do leaves. I'm going to start with... Let's see. Oh, I've got some green thread here. Hold, please. So there are 2 leaves in here. There is a smaller and a bigger. And I do them from 2 different shades of green felt. I really like Grove and Limelight. Those are 2 of my favorites. And what's the other green from Poshta that I like? Cami, do you know?
What?
I don't remember. The greens I like. Oh, here. Peridot, is that how you say it? And Limelight. Those 2 go really well together. And if you want to go darker, there is Weathered Moss. Where's Grove? I don't see Grove here. Isn't Grove one of them? Yeah, here's Grove. This one's like a more of a sagey green, but there's lots of nice greens. The Limelight was a nice addition. Okay, so I have 3 ply again. Thread my needle. And I already did one of the leaves. I'm going to show you how to add the second leaf. Peridot, that's how you say it? I don't know. Okay. I don't know where the overalls are from. Yeah, listen, that's a Christina thing.
I can find it.
I would never... Swarvals, SW overalls? I don't know. She shows up with these things, and I just go along with it because I like her. Okay, so what I did here is I put down that stem, and I put down 1 leaf. I'm going to show you how to do the next leaf, okay? So I did 1 leaf. I'm going to show you how to do the next one because the first one was the same thing. I'm just going to line it up, flip it over. I'm trying to line up the dots, the holes, which I can see here, and it's good enough. But remember, you could just do one side and then put a solid backing on it. Or you could stuff it. So I'll use my little clips and just kind of clip it where it needs to be so it doesn't move. All right. Then I start stitching. I like to start at the top, and I'll go every other stitch down. It's going to take me a minute, but then we'll be good. Every other stitch. I'm going to clip this string up here so it doesn't get in the way. These little clips are really handy. They have a lot of different options. I like this little set, this little travel set, because they're the 2 sizes together, and you don't need 9 million. Okay, so I'm going every other stitch down. Were there more questions? Cammie's running the show today.
Well, I don't know about that.
Mike is buying pinball machines on his computer. That's what he is literally doing. He just held up his computer. Could you add the clouds so the bumpy side is up and the flat side is down? Well, the base is this way. But what you could do, if you don't want the clouds like this, is you could cut the cardstock off here. I know. And then make some clouds and glue them right there, upside down. Either way. So you can change things up however you want. Or you can not even add the clouds. See, I could just have the flat bottom.
Okay.
She had some examples on her website where she did a pot of gold at the bottom.
I think that
She has pot of gold dyes. How much time on average do you spend creating something? A good amount. Like if Lila's doing her homework, I'll sit by her and stitch. When when I wake up in the morning, I take Lila to school. on some days, or Ken does, and I will sit in bed and I'll stitch and catch up on email at the same time. Like I'll kind of halfway do that email and halfway stitch.
Your eyes must go different directions.
Yeah, I'm like squirrel a lot. Like I get distracted easily. Okay, so I got down here, and now this is going to overlap with what I've already stitched. So I'm just going to hold it all together, and this is going to go through a lot of layers, but I've got a good needle. It'll go through all the layers.
How do you calculate how long to cut your floss?
How do I calculate how long to cut the floss? I don't. You could always try to. I just cut something that is manageable, and it may be wasteful in the end, or I may cut it too short, but I've never measured. It's something that you can practice with and figure out. So see how I came all the way down here? And this is overlap. So these stitches go through all of those layers. And now I reach the bottom, so I'm just going to go back and fill in the every other stitches. Wonderful colors. Yeah, there are a lot of great colors. Here's the thing. I would start with whatever appeals to you the most. I laid out the different rainbow bundles at the beginning. I feel like the most traditional is the classic, with the red, orange, yellow, green, and so on. But my favorite, I think, just happy, would be the Vivid, which I can't find now. Oh, I don't know where I put my Vivid. Yeah, drats. I don't know where my Vivid went. It was the one I demoed with earlier, but it's gone over the rainbow. And I also like, I don't know where the Vivid one went, but then I also like Rosy because it's different. So really, I recommend just looking at the combos that I showed at the beginning and just picking which works for you. Yeah, the light gray, if you want a light gray, heathered gray instead of white, I would check out Overcast. Overcast is from Poshta too. So if you prefer that. Okay, so this is how you get a double side, and I love how this leaf kind of lifts up a little bit. I think that's cool. They have butterflies. That is next up to be stitched a lot. And also, I want to do more of these. This die set, the flower, it's called, my tummy's growling. The fresh flower die set comes with all of these different flowers, and it comes with a bow where you cut the felt from the bow from felt and fold it, and it makes a cute little bow. Yes, Poshta's white is Tundra. Oh, are all the bundles sold out? Oh dear. You guys want to be, you too want a creative escape. Yeah. Well, the dies I don't think are sold out. And she will get more of the bundles. So I'm back at the top of my leaf. I have thread coming out the top and the top on both sides. What I do here is I do the tuck thing too. I go back down the same hole, but I'm only going through that top layer of felt, and I just kind of tuck it so it's kind of, the needle comes out behind the leaf, and I pull it until it's tight. Then I cut the excess off, and then I go back to the other.
Poshta said they still have the rosy and neutral bundles.
You still have the rosy and neutral. Rosy is my favorite. And the neutral I just think is so sweet. That was the most popular of my when I sent my friend little pre-cut stuff. They liked the neutrals the most with the little, you put a little red help. Oh, they have pastel too? There you go. Yeah, so they still have some. Okay, so now I'm on the other side. I put my needle on it. I'm gonna go down the same hole, but only go through the top felt layers. Come out kind of somewhere else behind the leaf. Pull, cut. So I just hide my ends. So there's how I do the petals. The only thing left here is the top. I need some pink floss. Okay. Cammie, you should go home. You don't need to be here this long.
I just need to
Okay, so I'm going to take 3 ply. Thank you, Cami. So 3 ply of the floss. Okay, somebody asked, what prevents your floss from coming out when you go down the same hole? I'm not going down the same hole through all the layers, only through the top layer of felt. So when I go back down the same hole, I'm not going down through the felt, the cardstock, and then the other felt. I'm just going through the felt, the top layer of felt, and tucking behind that, and that does it. The flower bouquet is gorgeous. I'll have to show that in a live in the future. I'm all thumbs right now. I'll have to show that in a live in the future because it's much more involved than the others. But actually, it's really not. It just looks intimidating, and I just didn't think it was a good thing to include in this live. But I will do it in a future live. It's a great one. It comes with tons of dies in it. Okay, so here we have you can see the tulips. The way I do it, this is different than how they intended it to be done. I take the solid tulip and hold it on one side. The other solid tulip, hold it on one side. Remember, you could do one-sided and back it with a solid die cut if you want. I'll clip that there. Now let's do a bigger clip. And now I start stitching around it. And once I've stitched around it, I'm not going to do it all because I want to save time. I will stitch around, skipping stitches, and then when I get to the other end, I reverse it, okay? So I'll go through and stitch this entire thing, and then you can hide your ends of your thread like I've shown you before. So I go all the way around. Then I come in and add this. There's holes in here. I add this one on top and this one. So this is like a lighter shade of pink. That's a darker pink, a lighter shade of pink. And then I stitch through the layers there, okay? Because you can see this die cuts all the holes, and this die cuts those holes there, and this die lines up with it. All right, and there's holes in my felt. So there's holes through all of this, so it makes it really easy to stitch. All right, I'm gonna finish doing this tulip, and then I will answer a few questions, and then I'll go. I got that.
Yeah.
What other questions are there?
Can you cut felt with regular dies?
You can cut regular dies. You can cut felt with regular dies, yes. You're just gonna need shims. Some dies, if they're too intricate, your felt might tear. You might notice that a lot of these dies don't have any like little bitty bits because, oops, hold on, the felt could tear. Like the holes aren't too close together because the felt could tear. So, you don't want to cut something that's super intricate, like little tiny letters or something. If you want letters to cut from felt, Poshta has tons of different options for that, where you can cut the holes directly onto like the back of your heart to stitch hugs like I showed you before. Or if you want to cut individual letters and stitch those colored felt letters onto your project. So the point is, these are designed to cut felt. However, other dies you have can cut felt with extra shim, but it won't have your stitching holes. And you can use a sharp needle and create your own little stitches, but I'm telling you, the holes makes it so much easier because see how I'm easily able to make stitches in the right spacing. I don't have to think about anything else. Poshta has 4 different alphabets. So I'm going to this point, this little nook here, and now I'll start going in reverse. All right. What other questions here? All right, so I'm going back around, and I will show you how that little end I got to hold in my hand so it doesn't get tangled. Can you use the Spellbinder's needles? You should be able to. I don't know what size those are. I can't remember. If you could tell me what size the Spellbinder's needles are. These holes are pretty decent size because they're designed for cutting felt. If a hole is too small, it won't cut the felt well. The spacing's got to be just right. To put it this way, the Poshta dies are designed perfectly to stitch with paper or felt. I know like Spellbinders has, you know how they have the stitching dies of the month? Those are mostly meant to be on paper. The holes are smaller and they're closer together. Those I don't cut from felt, but these I would cut from felt or cardstock. All right. Mike, are there other questions?
Let me see.
Drink right out of thread. Go back to this end. I need a little more. Can you use other types of stitches? Yes, you can use a blanket stitch. You can do others. You will want to test. If you want to do double-sided, you will want to test that your stitch will look nice on both sides. For example, remember I stitched this stem? With the running stitch, it looks pretty on both sides. All right. If you want to use some other type of stitch that the back side doesn't look as good, just do the solid back instead of the felt on both sides. It's just different options. Okay, so let me finish this. Okay, so now I've got these two little ends. I'm not going to even bother tying them. They're just going to get tucked under this petal that I put on top. So my ends will just stay there. But I stitched from here around to here and back. The center will be covered with these two. So now I just need to stitch those on. My little ends will get tucked on right there. I'm going to use the same floss. Any other questions, Mike?
Use the Spellbinders needles.
Yeah, I mentioned that
Okay.
already.
Let's see.
Are there other questions?
Let me see.
Answered all those. I'm sorry if I miss questions. It's hard to keep up with questions and keep going at the same time, and I really try my best. We try our best to catch them, but sometimes it's not easy. I need water. Okay. Oh, what's that? No central vision. I don't know. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Sorry, I have no idea. All right, so I just hold this here. You could clip this, but I don't know. I've gotten good at just holding it with my fingers. But see how I'm able to go through, I'm going through 6 layers of felt and 1 layer of cardstock because all of this is layered up. If you don't want it to be as thick, just do your tulip on one side. Oops, I'm causing problems here. You can do your tulip on one side and then put the solid on the back, like I mentioned with the hearts earlier. Yeah, the blanket stitch is fun too. I use the blanket stitch on, I use it sometimes for the stems on this one. Whatever works for you. Can you scroll it a bit? Trying to catch any last minute things? No, it's fine. Last minute things before I go. Have you done any of the teapots? I haven't. I bought the die. I haven't done it yet. There's a watering can that I want to use. There's butterflies. There's a lot of things that I haven't been able to use yet. Her butterflies are like her hearts. She's got the basic hearts and the basic butterflies, and then there are add-ons available to add like different details to the hearts or the butterfly wings. So I'm going one way and I'll go back. Always that way. Oh, Spellbinders is 22 size needles. That should work fine for this. But again, the size needles I recommend, 5 and 20, are in the description below. Honestly, I keep a little container. I don't have my little container. My little magnetic container of both sizes together. I don't know, whichever works. Chain stitch is fun. Yep. There are lots of different stitches you can do. Just keep in mind, certain stitches don't look as pretty from the back side. A lot of us don't look as pretty from the back side. I knew Cammie would laugh at that. And so you would just want to cover it up with the solid. So it's totally up to you. This running stitch I feel like is the most basic. So I've gone all the way, I'm back to where I started, and now I can reverse direction and go up and down to fill in the gaps. Hi, Dana. Dana was doing some stitching here a few days ago. She came to visit and she did some stitching. And she got to go home with lots of pre-cut felt so she could stitch on the plane ride home. Will a gift card fit in the gift? I don't know. The gift card would fit into, she's got a little gift card tag. It's like a little stitched pocket that you could put a gift card into. You could probably leave an opening at the top of a heart and make a little pocket with that rainbow heart. All right, I'm almost done here. So then this one will be done. So it doesn't take too long. I do like to go through and stitch white around lots of white felt and cardstock and have a bunch of those ready and then go add the color on it. But if you don't like to take the time to do the white base, these rainbows don't require that. It's just, they offer different things, you know? But remember, everything could be simplified with the solid back, except this one. That doesn't have a solid back die. Okay, so I'm at the end. I have a string coming up this hole in the front and at the hole in the back. So I'm gonna go back down the same hole, but only through that top pink felt layer. And I'll come out like the side of that top pink felt layer. Pull it and cut it. So I'm not going back through all the layers, just that top. Then I'll do the same thing on the other side. Once you get into the habit of doing this, you'll find there are other ways, like you can hold the thread behind it so you don't have to go back and stitch. But this is the easiest way, I feel, to teach it. It's coming out that hole there. This is where we started. That's the tail I had. Go back down the same hole, but only through that top layer pink. Pull it out the other side and cut it. No one will ever see that. So the end of our stem is underneath that. And there you go. And this one, there is a bow die again that goes with this, that you could put a bow on here if you wanted to. But I would again do that same trick of stitching a little silver thread through the top to make a little loop like I did on my rainbows. But I think these tulips are really fun. And the nice thing about the tulips is this can be scraps from your rainbows. All right, so that's why I have a lot of pink tulips, because I cut a lot of pink arches and I had a lot of awkward sized smaller scraps left over, so I made a bunch of tulips. All right.
Somebody just said, may have missed it because she came in late. What do you do with these?
What do I do with these? If you scroll back, I don't know where it went. If you scroll back, I show how I add them to the front of a card. You can add these to the front of the card. The recipient takes it off and can hang it up somewhere. I know one of my friends has it hanging on their car their rearview mirror. I know another friend has it hanging on like a little knob in her kitchen. Just, they can hang it anywhere. And then I have a giveaway. Find it. Oh, it's stuck. Okay. Here's my giveaway, because I want to use it and I haven't been able to use it yet, and I bought two. It is the basic butterfly die set. So this one allows you to cut the base like we would do from white, and then layers to go on it. So you can have a colorful butterfly and a body. Then she has add-on dies that cut little patterns to put on the wings. But this is like the basic butterfly. All right, so a winner will get the basic butterfly die set. For a chance to win the basic butterfly die set, you just need to leave a comment in the chat. And if you've been talking during the chat, during the live in the chat, you are already eligible. But I want to give anybody who hasn't a little bit of time. All right. Don't want to lose my needle. But I'm telling you, I like doing this stuff. I just think it's fun. And I actually like the result of the cardstock in the inside over just felt. I like that it's a little more structured, but it's totally up to you. I got all kinds of them in here. Different colors. It's just fun. I've got all different kinds. I really like the skin tone with a little pop of a heart. I haven't glued my heart on there. Anyway, so much that you can do. You could put a heart on your tulip too. All right. It's fun. How long is a roll of felt? I'm not sure. It'll say it over on the product page. She also has sheets of felt, but I prefer the rolls of felt. I just take the rolls out and fold them up to put into a pocket. So the rolls, it comes like rolled up like this. It's this wide, 5 inches. And I unroll it and just fold it to put into the pocket. Some people keep them rolled and tuck them into a little container, but I hoard felt, so it's easier if I have pockets. All right, yeah, the felt or the cardstock in the middle makes so much of a difference. It really makes it so much easier to stitch. That's how I can stitch and walk at the same time. I can't do a video of me stitching and walking at the same time because I can't walk, stitch, and film at the same time. Maybe I'll get Mike to go out with me. Oh yeah, a lot of people are cross-stitching these days, and I feel like this is a nice kind of in-between because all of these things can be put onto a card, you know, and they're smaller projects. You can see the tulip fits nicely onto an A2 card or a bigger card if you want. I would just do, you could even take some vellum and do like a belly band of vellum around the front that this tucks behind. So many things that you could do. I showed some ideas of how to add these to a card earlier in the video. But I need to stop talking now because I've talked enough. Okay. Do you have a winner?
Yeah.
Okay. Who is the winner of the basic butterfly die set?
Kathy Maurman.
Kathy Maurman. Is that a K or a C?
C-A-T-H-Y.
C-A-T-H-Y. Kathy Maurman. You are the winner of this. Mike always throws in a handmade card and some other goodies. So just email me through my website at Contact Us, and I will get this in the mail to you. Alma, I should do that. I should link to some of my older videos. So again, all of the felt dies, the dies on Poshta are 15% off, except for that new heart rainbow one. That one's new, so it's not included in that. There are rainbow bundles of felt and thread, where it's all the felt and thread you need to make either the joyful rainbow or the heart rainbow. So either of these. The dies aren't included in those bundles, but the felt and thread are, and those are already discounted. So the 15% is only off the dies. The bundles are already discounted a bit from buying it all individually. I think that's it. Yeah, congratulations to Kathy. I'm off to eat stuffed peppers and have a big glass of water. Oh, video's at sound's gone. Oh dear.
Wait.
Why is the sound gone?
No, you got sound.
I do have sound?
Yeah.
If you lost sound, refresh it. Okay, well, I'm gonna head out. Thank you so much for watching me. Everybody's saying no sound. Thank you for watching me. All the information's in the YouTube description below, and I'll see you soon. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
All right, bye.